Hello, Unexplained ones. We had some technical difficulties during the live broadcast of this show with Dr. Lou and friends, so you may notice some disruptions in audio quality. Thanks for your patience. We appreciate all of you.
All Things Unexplained. Hosted by Dr. Mounts.
Let's face it, we were always ready to roll without him anyway.
CJ Derringer.
Ain't nobody perfect, right?
And Smitty Neves.
I've never planned out hardly anything my whole life. I just freeballed.
Featuring Cajun Man.
I'm just old nobody, somebody looking for somebody.
Hello, all you unexplained ones out there. This is CJ Derringer here with my co-host, Dr. Mounts. We are so thrilled to be joined tonight by Dr. Lou. We call him Chuck, and his friends Sarah and Stacey, all of the LIUniverse podcast, our absolute favorite podcast. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
We have a fun one for everyone tonight. We've got some sci-fi. We've got some trivia. Yes. We've got some astrophysics for everyone. Before we get started, Chuck, is there anything you would like to share about your podcast or any work that you've got going on?
Well, our new episodes are coming out now every 2 weeks. Just last weekend, we dropped our New York Comic-Con episode, which our guest here, Sarah, helped put together, actually made possible, really, if we're talking, actual realities. So thank you, Sarah. And then we have the next one dropping with our next guest, Andy Green, which Stacey really helped make possible through lots and lots of effort. An amazing guy who created the My Radar app and to run a business entrepreneur, does about science, weather forecasting, and storms, things like that. So I'm really happy with how the LIUniverse is coming along with these new episodes. Stay tuned for lots and lots of fun stuff all year long, wherever you get your podcast, and on video on YouTube.
Excellent. Well, we are thankful that you guys took some time to join us tonight. We've got Sarah, who I was learning is based out of Boston. And Stacey, where are you coming to us from tonight?
I'm in Connecticut.
In Connecticut. Excellent. All right. Well, we're thankful to have you guys here. We're going to get our show started. We are bringing a sci-fi episode to you this evening or whenever you're listening to us. And we are going to go into our top sci-fi movies and shows, as well as our least favorite sci-fi movies and shows. But before we do, I thought it would be fun to do a little trivia quiz here to determine our order of who is going to choose first. So
Let's do this.
some of these are easy, some of these are hard. So the first voice that I hear answer will take the point. So we'll start a little bit easier here. You guys ready?
Ready, let's do this.
Totally.
Let's go.
Ready.
Okay, here we go. Which actor played the captain of the Enterprise in the television series Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Stacey.
All right, Stacey, what's your answer?
My answer is Patrick Stewart.
Woo-hoo. Okay, Stacey with 1. Our next question: what do you call the enemy space fighters in Star Wars? Anyone?
Dr. Mounts, I'm going to chime in.
Okay, Dr. Mounts.
Are they X-Wing fighters?
Not according to the website I was on, but I've never seen the movie, so could be.
Oh,
But I'm going to say no. Anybody else?
Oh, no. It's Sarah. It's the TIE Fighters.
I knew it.
There you go, Sarah. It's the TIE Fighters. That is correct.
X-Wings are the good guys.
All right. Next question. Who directed Alien in 1979?
This is Sarah. Is it Ridley Scott?
Sarah got it. Ridley Scott. It's Ridley Scott. Sarah is on it.
Good one, Sarah.
All right. Here we go. Who wrote the epic sci-fi story, The War of the Worlds?
Dr. Mounts, buzzing in.
Okay, Dr. Mounts.
H.G. Wells.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, next one. Rod Serling created what famous science fiction television show?
Stacey, Twilight Zone.
Stacey, that's it. Twilight Zone. There we go. Okay, here's the fun one. What Star Trek The Next Generation actor hosted the children's show Reading Rainbow?
Ooh, this is Sarah. LeVar Burton.
You got it. I loved that show, Reading Rainbow. I should clarify, not Star Trek.
Good, wasn't that Geordie? Was that Geordie?
Geordie LaForge.
Geordie LaForge.
I don't know. I never saw it. But you got it. Okay. Who played the female lead role in the 1986 sci-fi movie Aliens?
I'm giving somebody else a chance here.
Is that your way of saying you? Doc Lou. Yes. Chuck.
I'm going to say Sigourney Weaver.
Yes. You are correct. Okay. Torchwood is an anagram and spin-off of what popular British sci-fi series?
Oh, this is Sarah. The answer is Doctor Who.
Yes, it is. I thought that was so fun, an anagram of it. That's great.
I love that show. So good.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Next question. Who played the female lead in this dystopian political thriller V for Vendetta?
I can answer this.
It was a good movie.
Check here. Was it Natalie Portman?
Yes, check. It is Natalie Portman. Okay. This catchphrase is from what 1987 action movie set in Detroit, Michigan? I'd buy that for $1.
Yes, this is Chuck. That was in RoboCop.
Yes, it was in RoboCop. I had to watch that about 1,000 times today. Okay. In the movie The Terminator, what is the name of the company that created Skynet?
See, I thought Skynet created Skynet.
I don't think so.
I've never seen The Terminator.
All right, the answer is Cybernet Systems.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Yes, Cybernet Systems. Okay. What kind of car is the time machine in the movie Back to the Future?
Ooh. This is Stacey DeLorean.
DeLorean, you got it.
She's on the board.
All right, she's got three.
Wait a minute, Doc. You're telling me you made a time machine out of a DeLorean?
All right, we have a few more here, and then we'll know our order of picking. So, who directed Close Encounters of a Third Kind?
Steven Spielberg.
There we go. It's Steven Spielberg. All right, according to Jay in Men in Black, what is the difference between him and Kay? It's a famous quote.
Ooh.
Do not know.
You know the difference between you and me?
The difference here is I make this look good.
Well, that's it. I think this is good. Excellent. Okay, another quote. In space, no one can hear you scream. That's the famous tagline for which 1979 space thriller?
Alien.
I should know this.
Phrase.
Yes.
Oh, Dr. Chuck had it.
Chuck got it.
Alien. We have a tie, but I'm just going to go ahead and make a decision here. Let's have Sarah go first. She was on her game there. And then we've got Chuck going second, Stacey going third, and Tim going last. And now we're going to dive right into it. Sci-fi, y'all.
I have to say, we kind of came up with this idea to coincide with a new sci-fi movie that just came out last week, I believe. And we're not sure whether it belongs in the worst category or the best category. And I was going to put it on the screen because I Googled some of the reviews right before it came out to decide whether I wanted to go watch it. And this movie was 65. It stars Adam Driver, came out last week. And I actually invited Adam Driver to come on the show with us tonight. And I hate to say it, but I think it should tell us something that I didn't hear back from him. So I'm not sure he was very confident in the movie.
It totally says something about him.
But here are the first 4 reviews from online. 65, Adam Driver walks the dinosaur. Okay, maybe that's not so bad. Next review, 65 could have been a cheeky sci-fi dinosaur film. Instead, it's a meteoric flop. Next review, a fossil of a film that should remain buried.
Ooh.
And the last one on the screen was,
Ouch.
this is how you screw up a film about Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs. So
Wow.
So I think it's a fair guess that unfortunately 65 would go in our worst.
All right, Sarah. We're going backwards here. We're starting with number 3. What is your third worst sci-fi movie or show?
You know, it's really hard to think of shows that I don't like. And I think part of that is because once you watch them, you like never want to think of them again. But I was thinking real hard about this. And Jupiter Ascending is on that list of like really terrible sci-fi movies. And yet I honestly actually love it. So I'm probably cheating a little bit here. It's not a good movie, but I really enjoyed watching it.
Fair enough. Hey, that works. So Jupiter Ascending. Not sure that I have even ever heard of that. But
is that the one with Mila Kunis playing
that
the
with a grain of salt.
princess? Because, like, she's the daughter of someone who gets killed in a mob hit or something.
Yeah, and Channing Tatum plays a werewolf, and she's the queen of bees. It's not a good movie.
Oh, man.
But
Channing Tatum was a werewolf?
He's a werewolf. He's like part werewolf in this. But the
Wow,
actual like
Okay.
the visuals are beautiful, which may be why I enjoy the movie, honestly.
It's so bad. It's good. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Chuck, what is your third worst sci-fi movie or show?
I'll tell you what. All my shows are going to be rather dated because, like, after about 1995, I just stopped watching bad stuff. I just didn't waste my time on them. So I'm sorry that these are all very old, but my third worst that I ever saw was the movie Krull.
Oh, Krull.
You remember Krull with the glaive, like the thing spinning and throwing around and so forth? 1983, I think it was, starring some guy named Kenneth Marshall, who had just, in fact, starred as Marco Polo in a grand 7-day, 7-night NBC TV miniseries mega event or something. Krull. It was bad.
Okay, there you have it. Don't watch Crawl, as in like crawling on the ground?
Krull. I'm like stabbing
Krull.
back. Yeah, Krull. Yes,
Okay.
because I actually owned
Gotcha.
the comic book adaptation. I actually played the Atari 2600 video game version. I mean, I was all Krull, but it's terrible.
All right, we are headed to Stacey. What is your number 3?
My number 3, this took a lot of thought because there are some bad movies out there. There are some bad shows out there. My number 3. So that's not my worst, right? It's my not worst. It's my third worst.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know if
Yes.
any of you guys have you ever seen a movie called Naked Space?
Same Naked Gun.
What? Naked? I heard Naked Space.
Naked Space. It's kind of like a Naked Gun spoof on the Blob.
Oh.
If anybody
Oh,
is familiar with
gosh.
the Blob. The Blob is like a 1950s thing where it's this little bit of schmutz that turns really dangerous.
A little bit of schmutz.
So in Naked Space, the schmutz becomes this creature, and they put it in the Universal Translator, and it sings a Broadway-style song called "I'm Gonna Eat Your Face."
Stop it.
It's remarkably bad, but it will make you smile. So that's my number.
So it does not come in peace.
Oh, I love it.
It does not come in peace. No.
The thing is, the Blob is one of those
That's
definitely
classic
something to check out.
characters. I mean, the Blob is just a classic. I don't know if the Blob was Universal, but it belongs right in there with all the Universal monsters. Dracula, the werewolf, Frankenstein.
The Killer Tomatoes.
Absolutely.
Yes, the Universal classic Killer Tomatoes. Oh yeah, the Killer Christmas trees. They were right in there too.
Gosh.
My number 3 and I'll see if y'all can figure this out. It's about a group of people that try to survive when machines start to come alive and become homicidal. And CJ, get this. It was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina, former home of our host, CJ Derringer. It was directed by none other than Stephen King.
Oh.
It was also the only movie ever directed by Stephen King. The entire So the entire soundtrack was AC/DC, who Stephen King asked himself to do the soundtrack. They were a little unsure about it until he sang an entire song of theirs and said, "Wow, well, for such a fan, we'll do it." Somebody asked Stephen King, "When are you going to direct another movie?" And he told them promptly, "Never. Have you ever seen Maximum Overdrive?" Which is my number 3. So
I have not seen that.
Gosh.
it's a classic. And by the way, y'all, I did not know this until today, that there is a young Giancarlo Esposito in Maximum Overdrive.
Wow.
He plays a hip dude in the arcade, and I kid you not, he gets killed by a video game.
Amazing.
He has
Love that.
He has one line. The pinball machine starts going crazy, and he says, "Yo, mama." A waste of talent.
Yo, mama.
Yeah,
I mean,
a waste of talent, if you ask me, for one Giancarlo Esposito. It also starred Emilio Estevez. It had a Marvel connection. Does anybody remember the Marvel connection? So the main villain of the movie, if you want to call it a villain, an 18-wheeler, had the Green Goblin on the front. The Green Goblin's head.
oh.
Yeah, and get this, CJ. There was a truck stop in the movie, right? And the Dixie Boy truck stop was made 10 miles outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. And it was such a convincing truck stop that truckers actually kept stopping there. And eventually the producers had to put announcements in local papers saying, "This is just a movie set. Don't stop by." So yeah, number 3, Maximum Overdrive. It was also rumored, by the way, that large segments of the movie were filmed or directed by George A. Romero, because Stephen King was having a little bit of having some problems.
Alpha Romero?
I don't know what the A stands for, but he made the Night of the Living Dead shows. So maybe Alpha Romero. No, but Stephen King was having some issues with the some substances. And so he wasn't exactly present all the time, if you know what I mean. So there you go. Maximum Overdrive, 1986.
Be a little bit tougher with Tim on the 2-minute limit here. All right, back to Sarah. Moving to number 2.
Oh man, all right. This is gonna hurt my heart a little bit, but I love the Highlander movies. But Highlander 2 is actually really a travesty. Highlander 2 is pretty rough.
If Smitty was here, we'd give you a good Sean Connery.
I love Highlander. I'm a longtime Highlander fan, and I watched all the TV shows, both the Highlander and the Raven, that short-lived spin-off. I love Highlander, but Highlander 2 is pretty. There's aliens involved. That's a pretty rough adaptation.
Okay, moving on. We are back to Stacey. No, Chuck with your number 2.
Okay. My number 2 worst movie was actually Molly Ringwald as Nikki and Peter Strauss as Wolf in Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone in 3D.
Oh, 3D.
It was bad. Of course, this is before the Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink and all that. So before Molly Ringwald became super duper famous, but already she's playing a waif on a desert planet that has to fight this energy vampire, and some guy comes down, and oh, it's bad. It's bad. But I mean, I liked it when I watched it back in the day. It's like, oh, it's bad. But it was,
How long have they been doing 3D movies? I would not have thought that a 3D movie had come out before Breakfast Club.
that was just as 3D was starting getting really exciting at first. It was like the first wave 3D, or the second wave 3D, because the first wave 3D was from the 60s or the 50s or something like that.
Mhm.
And they put a Jaws sequel in 3D. They put all kinds of weird movies in 3D. Coming at You was like a movie, I believe, in 3D. And
It's an
then
appropriate
Weird Al
term.
Yankovic created an album called Weird Al Yankovic in 3D. It was just very good.
Yep. We had Piranha
Has anybody
3D.
seen a movie in 3D? Did anybody ever see a 3D movie that they liked, that they enjoyed?
Well, Avatar.
3.
Step Up 3.
Step Up 3. Take it to the streets. Very good in 3D.
You know what
Gotta
was
put that on
actually
the-
good in 3D? This was actually a documentary in 3D about the moon, and it was called Magnificent Desolation. And it was really
Oh,
good.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I will
Gotta
admit,
check that
and
out.
I was not a part of this, but I had friends in junior high who got to go see Friday the 13th in 3D. And I'm not going to go into the details,
No.
but they loved it.
What? Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. I think
We all
that's
know
time to
there's
move on to
certain things
Stacey's.
if happen in the woods, you're in big trouble.
All right, Stacey, what is your number 2?
My number 2, and just reiterating how much thinking this took, there was a movie called Moon. I don't know if anybody's seen this movie. It's about a guy alone on the moon, and he's mining something, and he puts it into these tubes and sends it back to Earth, and he's up there alone, and he's got a little TV screen that has a face on it that talks to him every day. Does anybody remember this movie?
No.
Well, periodically the screen tells him he's had an accident and everything's going to be okay. And as time goes on, he discovers that underneath his moon base is a whole laboratory full of clones of himself. So every time they kill him, like every time he wants to escape, they kill him and get rid of the memories, and then the clone wakes up and is told he had an accident, and they reconstruct his memories, and it's just this little face on a TV is his only friend up there. And it's crazy, but it's like so psychologically damaging by the time you get out of it. I was very disturbed.
That makes me wonder, do you think that could have been what was really happening in Groundhog Day?
Yeah. He was just getting killed every time.
Yeah, I mean, it kept coming back.
Possibly. Okay, that is a disturbing one. Wow. But now I want to watch it. You sold it. All right, Tim, coming your way. What is your number 2?
Okay, my
You're
number
on the
2
clock, sir.
is
2
from
minutes.
1983.
2 minutes
Put me
or
from the
less.
clock, but listen, it's from 1983. I have a classic clip here, and we'll see if anybody can identify it. I have confidence in Dr. Lou, so we'll see.
Dr. Jonathan Chase. Wealthy, young, handsome. A man with the brightest of futures. A man with the darkest of pasts. From Africa's deepest recesses to the rarefied peaks of Tibet. Heir to his father's legacy and the world's darkest mysteries.
My son, you must have faith and learn. This is not the end. This is the beginning.
Jonathan Chase, master of the secrets that divide man from animal. Animal from man. Manimal.
Oh.
Manimal.
Manimal.
That's right. Master of the secrets that divide man from animal, animal from man. He's a manimal, of course. Don't confuse that with thinking he can only transform into a mammal. He could actually transform into any animal. It just so happened the budget mainly made him transform into a Hulk and a Black Panther for some reason, because that was in the that was in the original episode where all the special effects went into. It only went on for 8 episodes. Turns out it was really super popular in France, and guess what, y'all? They're actually planning a remake of Manimal starring Will Ferrell. And I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, that will be fun.
I'm going.
I think we need some Manimal in our lives. Let's be honest. We
I
need
just
Will
hope he
Ferrell
turns
as
into more
Manimal.
than the Hulk and the Black Panther in Will Ferrell version.
Will Ferrell could turn into anything.
Pretty much, yeah.
So y'all in the show, he would occasionally.
Came up with Manimal.
Yeah, so in the show, he would occasionally. Oh, by the way, the tagline is: "A man who can change himself into any animal fights crime." That's the tagline. And there just happened to be a bumbling female detective who, for some reason, needed a Hulk's help in solving a crime. Okay, go figure. And occasionally he would transform into some other animals like a dolphin, but it was always off screen, so you never saw those.
Oh, man.
There was only so much they could do back in 1983. Let's cut him a break here.
But they did have the flipper sound.
All
effects.
right. Well, thank you for that joyful little ditty right there. Okay, moving back. We're back to Sarah. Your number 1 worst ever sci-fi movie or TV show.
All right, this hurts my heart to admit, but I have to go with He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
No.
It's not good, guys. I have to admit, not good. When I was a child, I loved it. I grew up on that. But as an adult, it's not a good movie. You have to admit it in your heart.
Sarah, you have to clarify. Are you talking about the movie or the television show?
The movie, not
Thank goodness.
the movie. Yes. No, the cartoon was phenomenal.
I feel better now.
He-Man and She-Ra, I loved that as a kid. I still have my She-Ra sword from when I was a small child. It's living in the back of my closet someplace. Yes. Very on brand for me. But the movie with what's her name? Courtney Cox and Dolph Lundgren, not a good movie.
That one didn't cut it, huh?
I feel much better that
hurts my heart.
Well,
with the movie and not the show. Yeah, because even She-Ra was a pretty cool comic, cartoon.
Oh yeah, I loved the cartoons. Like I watched those on repeat as a kid. My mom used to record them on Betamax.
So much. On Betamax.
Yeah, I'm dating myself, but yes, Betamax. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well,
the cartoons
we
were
didn't
so
have
great.
any videos when I was a kid, Sarah.
You just had to. There you go.
Hey, I had Castle
All
Grayskull. I had Skeletor. I had Beast Man. I had all of them. Y'all, it broke my heart that my son never really got into action figures. I really tried.
Got the scenes.
And you can pass them on this way. My son's into anything that just like destroys. My daughters have fairy wands and stuff, and he just uses them to destroy my house, beat us over the heads with them. So, and we'll take the action figures. They sound less dangerous. Okay, moving on to Chuck. What is your number 1 worst, in your opinion, sci-fi movie or TV show?
Okay. This one is odd. Hold me to the 2 minutes, okay? Because I'll go on forever if you don't.
Okay.
All right.
You and Sam. I've got to
This
set my
movie was the
timer.
movie. Yeah, the movie was perfectly good until the last 3 minutes, and the last 3 minutes were so bad that it just tilted the movie off the scale to be the absolute worst of all time because of the death scene, which wasn't actually the death scene. Okay, you see. It was an all-star cast. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside, Ronnie Cox. I mean, great names of people who did amazing stuff. And it was about a movie that remade the Philip K. Dick short story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. It was Total Recall.
Yes.
Because of Total Recall, which was remade, by the way, in 2012. I didn't see it. I don't know. I was just too traumatized by the first one to even consider watching it. In the last scene, you have to picture this. I was in the movie theater with my then girlfriend, and we're sitting there in the middle of the movie, and we're just kind of watching this movie go by, and then suddenly Arnold is about to die because all the atmosphere in the Martian bubble is dissipating and going away. And so then for the next 30 seconds, he's like, "Blah, blah, blah, blah," and his mouth is going huge and his eyes bulging and ears. And I'm just going, no, that's terrible. That's not how it works. And he just went on and on and on with this horrible scene of like, eyeballs coming out and earlobes, whatever. It was just terrible. And my date, right, my girlfriend then at the time was like elbowing me, no, cut it out. It's just a movie. Cut it out. And I'm saying, it doesn't work that way. And anyway, so it just totally ruined it for me. It was all over. All the great stuff before was completely destroyed. Worst movie of all time.
Oh, I hate that for you. I just hate that for you.
For what it's worth, I really
do.
like that movie a lot.
Well, see, that's the problem. That last scene was just so horrible, it just completely destroyed it, and then the environment was just terrible, and the girlfriend there elbowing me, trying to make me shut up, and I just couldn't. It was just horrible.
There was no coming back.
Sounds like a terrible experience.
Well, it wasn't terrible, because in the end, I married her, or she married me. After that terrible experience, we did 31 years, so I guess maybe it wasn't the worst.
Total Recall for the win.
There were some interesting anatomical anomalies in Total Recall.
Oh, yeah, big time. Since you remember this, Dr. Mouse, you will remember the best line that Arnold delivered in that entire movie, right? Was when he had to take a drilling tool that looked like a big jackhammer swirly thing and jab it through the cab and to attack Vinny, the betrayer of him. And you could see it coming from a mile away, and he was going, spinning around, and he's like, "Vinny, screw you!" And then he's like this big screw that's yeah.
I will
Such
say
an Arnold Schwarzenegger line.
Yeah, I wanted to say what wasn't it? It's not a tumor, but I think that was
He's
a different
not a
movie.
tumor. That's Kindergarten Cop. Yep.
Yes.
It did have one of the
I
great.
feel like Kindergarten Cop every day.
I tell you what though,
Every day.
Dr. Lou, you may remember it had one of the greatest action set pieces ever, in my opinion, where he's going through the X-ray machine, and this whole fight with the X-rays, it happens. That was pretty cool.
That was actually pretty cool.
I do feel like Kindergarten Cop every day, though. Every day, I feel like I'm going to be a good mom today. We're going to be happy. I'm going to teach my kids. And by the end of the day, I'm like, shut up!
And why have you not gotten a ferret yet?
That's what I need. More chaos. More chaos. All right. Coming
In the end,
Stacey.
Arnold loves the kids, and the kids love Arnold, right? So maybe that's the true market character when it comes to
And at the end of the day, the same thing happens here. And my house is as ruined as that kindergarten classroom is too. All right. Stacey, your number one worst sci-fi movie or TV show.
It's got to be a series called Earth Final Conflict. Does anybody know this one?
I haven't heard of it.
Do you like
Never
it?
seen it.
Do you like it, Chuck?
I won't comment, but I did watch it.
Okay. So,
That means you've got it in the right place.
This came after Gene Roddenberry's death, and his wife Majel, who was Black Swan of Troy, took his notes and came up with this series based on his notes. And there are 5 seasons, and every season is just a little worse. And by season 5, I couldn't watch it. There are these aliens living on Earth. They're called Talons, and they're also called companion. And people love them, but there are some people who are very suspicious of them and their intentions. And then there are all these other creatures that aren't so good, Geridians, Then there are these really bad ones, like they morph people, and these creatures morph into these worst creatures, and the very worst ones are called atavists. And by season 5, everybody is now an atavist. And I just couldn't watch. I couldn't watch. But Michael Cambius from All My Children is in it. So that was kind of interesting, just seeing his face and trying to figure out who he was. So if anybody's, remembers Michael Cambius from All My Children, he's in it. So anyway, I've got to say, sorry, Chuck.
Oh, man.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, but that would be my worst.
This music was fun. That this voice at the end, it was always one of
the show
everything.
is bad when you have to stop after.
Remember that?
Yes! Now I do! Thank you for that audio reminder.
In case you don't already follow him on Instagram, Dr. Lou at the LIUniverse sings quite often on his Instagram page, so it's worth the follow just for that.
Occasionally look at the hashtag The Singing Astronomer. You'll find him that way too.
Yes. Hashtag The Singing Astronomer. Yeah, we've got some clips of him singing on our show a few times too. Love it. So, yes, the watch it for 4 episodes or 4 seasons and can't get through the 5th one. It tells you that that's a pretty bad ending for that show, which is unfortunate. But all right, we are going to round out our worst ever sci-fi movies and shows with you, Dr. Mounts. Your worst ever. What is it?
Okay, so I had to clarify something real quick before we get into the best sci-fi. We nominated a couple of things for permanent residents in the best sci-fi Hall of Fame, and that was Star Wars and Star Trek. So you won't hear any of us mention anything from the Star Wars or Star Trek universe in the best sci-fi category, but I am going to cheat a little bit for my number 1 worst sci-fi ever. I've got just a little clip here to give you a clue.
I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Would you be wrong to think that there's no way in the world that's Darth Vader? No, you would not be wrong. Why would that be Darth Vader? But sure enough, that whiny, depressed, saddlebag of emotional drama is Darth Vader. That's right. And so that for that reason, my number 1 worst of all time, the Star Wars prequels. I'm sorry, I know that's cheating a little bit. We had everything from Jar Jar Binks to sappy, whiny Darth Vader, who's always in love and just moping around about it. Horrible dialogue like what you just heard, or when you heard him say no at the end of one of the episodes. Dull, heavy political scenes, midi-chlorians, whatever the heck those are. Like, what was wrong with the Force? The Jedi Council basically did nothing ever except Yoda and Mace Windu, even though there's a whole council full of, really awesome Jedi sitting there. You had super disposable bad guys who, as soon as their plot usage was over, they just, boom, immediately killed them, like Darth Maul, Count Dooku, General Grievous, see you, And not to mention, by the way, probably the biggest plot hole I think ever is that, you know what? I don't care what universe you're in. Even if it's a long time ago, I won't spoil it. But if you're Darth Vader, if you're Anakin Skywalker, and you did what he did to the little Jedis, you're never getting forgiven. I'm sorry, you're not coming back from that. You're not going back to the light side. You're not getting redeemed. Luke is not forgiving you. Star Wars prequels. There's even a whole song about it. Why does Dad always get so mad watching the Star Wars prequels? So there you go. That's it. I'm actually, my blood pressure is actually raising just a little bit. I need a drink. I need a drink.
Okay.
That's what happens when George Lucas doesn't have his now ex-wife to help him rewrite those scripts. She was the ghostwriter on the
When did these
original
movies come
trilogy.
out?
In the
Late
90s.
Okay.
I was in high school, so late 90s sounds right.
This might make sense for why I've never watched a Star Wars movie. I did attempt one time to watch a Star Wars movie, and it would have been in the early 2000s. And I left about 5 minutes in. I was like, I don't know what's happening. I'm too close to the screen. I don't get this. I'm out of here.
That was probably a prequel, and that's not the way to start.
So I got to go back. I got to do the
not.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was a prequel.
Not the way
do
to
not start with
I feel
these
better now
prequels.
about the Star Wars franchise. Like, I got to go way, way back, right? To the, what was it, 70s?
Yeah,
To the
you want the original
70s ones.
trilogy.
Yeah. The ones that we all watched in the
All right,
movies.
that's what I'm going to do.
With Mark Hamill and Harrison
Yes.
Ford. That's what you want.
Yes, that's where I need to go. I need to take it back. Well, as much as you hated those movies, Tim, I really enjoyed you talking about them. So thank you for that gift.
Cool.
That was fantastic. All right, before we dive into our favorite sci-fi movies and TV shows, please do be sure to follow our guest, Dr. Lou, and his podcast, The LIUniverse. He also has some wonderful books out there. He's a very knowledgeable astrophysicist. We keep bringing him on for things like comics and science fiction, but I promise you, he is very intelligent and able to explain things in a really wonderfully way to understand them. So thank you for joining us once again. And he's been on our show enough, we now call him Chuck. You can too. All right, Sarah and Stacey are joining us as well tonight. They are part of the LIUniverse camp, and we're thankful to have your time here. And we're going to dive right in. So, best ever sci-fi movies and TV shows.
To be continued.
You've been listening to All Things Unexplained. If you liked this podcast, please do give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. If you would like to hear more All Things Unexplained, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Our show depends on the support of listeners like you. Find us on Venmo under the business accounts at Bigfoot UFO. If you can't get enough of us, please check us out at allthings-unexplained.com. A special thanks to our producer, director, sound mixer, editor, and the man who wears far too many hats. No, seriously, he wears a lot of hats. Dr. Tim Mounts. Without you, we couldn't keep the lights on. Thanks for listening to All Things Unexplained.